Well, we're making progress. Not much, but a little. Actually, I can see light at the end of the tunnel now because I'm whittling down the number of issues. One of them is the drive shaft boots. As you can see right here, that boot has only got about a 1/16 of an inch from touching the transmission. Hopefully you can see that. So it's right in there. So I'm going to have to grind away a little bit of this transmission housing. This spot I think is okay with the boot. Even if it moved forward, it would still clear the housing here. So no issue there. I do like that the ribs aren't touching. So even if I turn the wheel, they don't touch. But I have noticed that this boot on the outside is very close to touching here, which means I have to pull the axle and I'm going to lose oil and have to refill that. And so, you know, everything you do requires something else to compensate. But several years ago, I bought this belt sander at a garage sale for $10, and my wife got on my case because she says, when am I ever going to use it? And I had a Harbor Freight one that was cheap that I'd been using. I said, maybe never, but it's a good one. Well, my Harbor Freight sander broke. I bought some belts for this one for $10, and I'm back in business, and it just saved the day on my transmission. So I was able to go in and cut that down. Plenty of clearance. Don't think I weakened it at all. So now you can see that there's room to clearance the boot. I've got about 1/8 of an inch now. Big improvement. These are the brackets for the Caravan calipers. And one thing I've never liked is the looseness of the pads. If you look on the bottom, there's a lot of wiggle room. And these are Hawk pads, but they're the same as the stock. So I know that there's not enough room for anti-rattle clips on both ends, but we do have this type that comes up here. But the problem is we're wearing into the caliper bracket. You can actually see where it's red is where it's a low spot. So my thought was, I've got some extra rattle clips from the Titan brakes that I did. So what I'm going to do is cut these off. So I'll put one there. And then I'll just cut it here and here. So as you can see, there is enough clearance that the pad goes over the clip. The problem is it's tight. It doesn't want to slide on its own. So I'm going to have to open it up just a few thousandths to give it some clearance. And I'll use the top clip over again, this one. So I'm just going to cut 2/3 of this clip away and just leave the portion that's here. But at least that'll give me something that I can replace and not be wearing on the surface. You can see where this one's also wore on the outside, and that is one of the weaknesses of these older brakes. I'm not sure if the Caravans ever came up with a fix for that or not. But these are Caravan caliper brackets. Big brakes. So as you can see, I've just taken the paint off on the bracket. I haven't really done any metal. And that allows me to there's now enough clearance that it moves. So, don't know if it's a fix that anybody else wants to do, but it's a way to do it. So what I've ended up doing is taking that clip and cutting it down. So I've taken the center section out, leaving this long lip, and taken the two ears off. And that clips right over. It's spaced properly for the caliper to mount up, and all I had to do was just lightly file these ears. You can see the paint's half there still in this area inside here. So I've only taken it down a few thousandths of an inch. It's not even enough to be a concern. So what I would say is just whatever pad you are using, to just try to slip it over the clip. And if it doesn't slip over, just file it a little bit. A minute of filing, and that was it. Make sure you put some grease on here, high temp grease. And now I don't need that top rattle clip anymore. So I can do away with these. Alright, for those of you still watching the video, you probably already saw the flaw in my plan, in that this ear was going to interfere with the rotor. So now I just flipped them so that the ear is on the outside instead of the inside. And actually the outside pad went on without any filing. So it fits perfect. So I'll put a link to these clips once I figure out where to get them without buying the whole brake pad set. So now I'll throw the caliper on and we'll see how it all looks. So there's the finished product. I'm not crazy about the tabs sticking out. I may end up cutting the ears off on there, but actually I would have my druthers, I would have done both clips the same way, so that the ears are connected to the centerpiece all the way across, like the bottom is. But I don't think it's that big a deal, and who's going to notice it inside the wheel? But the pads move nicely. Right now you can see that they wiggle freely. So I think that's a winner. I never dreamed I was going to have anti-rattle clips on both sides of the pads like that. I thought I was always going to be stuck replacing these brackets. So kind of modernizing the brake system.